Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently making our slow and painstaking way out of the Kerbal system with our tug craft. Now this engine definitely is not very powerful, and that made getting out of here kind of exciting. We did manage to get an assist off of the moon's gravity, however that did not get us quite where we needed to get to. You can see here we're pretty far behind all of the other modules, but we are only about 60 meters per second here away from getting a real proper escape, and we're just going to physics warp that on down. So that should be absolutely no problem, and that should be this well on the way. I've been at this for a while. As you can see, we're 15 days into this mission. You're probably glad you didn't see it all, in all honesty. It was mostly just repeated passes at burning near the periapsis at Kerbal. Nothing too exciting. So we have an escape, and we will save the rest of our Delta V, and with that, we will head on back to the Space Center. Fantastic. We need to figure out how we're going to get the Ascent module into orbit of Eve with the correct amount of fuel. Now, the fuel tug could help with that. There's no... Oh, hello, we're in 4K again. The fuel tug could definitely help with that. We're going to hop into the VAB and take a look at the Ascent module. This is kind of the last component that we need here, and we're back in 4K. Let's go ahead and fix that. It's getting very annoying. And we are going to go ahead and open up the Ascent module. That is the monstrosity that is this. Now, this is certainly more than enough to lift off on Kerbal if we had this fueled up. And I'm actually arguing that we should fully fuel this and see how much Delta V we actually end up having, like this. And then we can move the fuel around as necessary a little bit later on. Let's make sure that these header tanks are fully fueled, about like that. So we are absolutely going to want to not fire all of these engines. This is going to be, how much thrust to weight? 2.72 out of the gate. That is going to be altogether too much thrust to weight. And these do have active pitch and yaw. They are authority limited to 11 degrees. It's probably okay. What if we attempted to lift this with just the 3 vectors in the center? Out of curiosity. That's 0.43 thrust to weight. Okay, what if we only lifted it with half of the outer ones? 1.15. What if we toss in the 3 in the center? 1.58. That's pretty good thrust to weight, actually. Our Delta V on this is enough, I feel like, actually. We're going to have the opposite problem as the last launch. We're going to have too much power, but that's okay. We can throttle this down. Let's go ahead and figure out who we want to have in this. We absolutely want to have a pilot, we want to have an engineer, and we want to have a scientist. So let's hop out of here and see about recruiting some of those. We're going to be getting a lot of money very soon as we start completing these contracts. So in theory, money isn't an issue, although our money has been dwindling. There's no doubt about that. Science data from space around Gilly is something that we'll definitely pick up. I feel like that's something that we'll be able to do fairly simply. Let's go into the astronaut complex and let's just pick up a scientist and an engineer. There's only one scientist available. These are very expensive, and we'll hire this engineer as well. So that brings us down to 350k. How much is the Ascent module? It should be pretty expensive, I think. Let's see. 517k. So we don't have enough money to put this on the pad right now. Okay. That's good to know. What do we have around Gilly right now? Can we do that science data from space around Gilly immediately, or do we have to wait on that? We might be able to redirect an existing satellite to hop around Gilly. I'm not sure if we have anything orbiting Gilly. We do have our mining module on Gilly. There is that one. We have a comsat over here. How much fuel do we have in that? Quite a lot. Quite a lot indeed. Yeah, we might be able to redirect this over and get that done. And then put it back around Kerbin, or just leave it around Gilly. That might be okay too. So, let's see here. We've got lots of Delta V here. So, let's set Gilly as our target. And at the ascending node, we can do just a flyby of Gilly. Where is it going to be if we burn it here? Okay. We will be here in 8 days. This is not a great intersect. Ooh, that looks like a decent one. Yeah. Hello. That's very close. So something along the lines of... It's the inclination that's giving us a fit right now. We're to increase our inclination. Well, we would need to match planes with Gilly, and that's maybe something that we should do. We could match planes over here 9.7 degrees off. Alternatively, we were very close over in this direction. Where was that? Yeah. We were indeed very close over here. And I'm wondering if we can just change our inclination here. I don't want a timer right now. Thank you. Let's see what we've got here. Maybe if we push it out over this way. I don't actually want this to be in there. Yeah, I think it's our inclination that's giving us our issue right now with this intersect, although it was that. Okay. Hypothetically. Nope. Okay. 11.6. Yeah, I mean, we're too far away from the ascending or descending node. Let's just go ahead and head on over to here. And we will go ahead and change our inclination to match Gilly, which is, in fact, this direction. More along the lines of that. Okay. We can't actually lock to the maneuver node, but that's okay. And we'll go ahead and warp to that maneuver. At this point, all we need is a flyby of Gilly. And that is exactly what we're going to get. So let's go ahead and burn at the descending node here. I got rid of the maneuver just because I want to keep an eye on what our actual node is. I realize that we could do it like over here, but I want to see the relative ascending node. And that's good enough. Okay, so if we were then to burn somewhere around here, that would be opposite side. Okay. Not too helpful, to be sure. Not too helpful at all. What if we were to burn, like, at the apoapsis and try to intercept it somewhere over this away? Kind of like this. That's actually pretty close. Saw an encounter there very briefly. That's all we need is an encounter. Where were you? Okay. Now that we can see this, we can hopefully fine-tune this a little bit. I think we need to change when we're burning this ever so slightly. Hello. And that is an encounter. It's going to be 2 years out. That isn't helpful. Not in the slightest, in fact. So let's see if we can find a closer encounter. We probably can. Can I grab this maneuver? I just want to get rid of it. Okay, and then we will go ahead and add a maneuver somewhere over here, and we'll see How far away is it just to wait until Gilly is over in this vicinity? That timing's not great, is it? No, I don't want to burn radial. Okay, let's see here. We just need a little cash to make this happen. So, let's burn it out over like this way, but maybe take it radial? Just to get it a little closer. It's a lot of radial delta V to make this happen. That's a whole lot of radial delta V. And then prograde over here. This is a pretty disgusting burn, if I'm honest. Like, this is pretty objectively awful. This is not how I would like to do this. You know what? Let's just hold it here, and let's head back to the Space Center. And let's see if there's any other substantially easy missions that we could take just to make a little bit of money. A quick buck here. Those 2 extra Kerbals were very expensive indeed. We could plant a flag on the moon. It's a thing we could do. Only 46k for the advance. Science data from space around Gilly pays us enough, or very close to it. But we're going to get paid just an absolute ton when we complete this mission. So all we need is a real quick cash infusion. And how do we want to go about doing that? Science data from space around Gilly would absolutely be the way I'd want to do this. That would be very, very nice, to be sure. I'm actually going to leave this facility here. Let's take a quick look at our administration building. It's been a while since we've looked at that, I know. But I also usually ignore upgrading it. We are currently running the fundraising campaign. And that's the best we can do. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. What actually happens if you run out of cash in campaign mode? I've never done it before. Literally never. Wait, we have 35? Oh, no, this costs 35. Okay, that's more like it. I'm going to make a quick save out here, and I actually... Is it just not going to let us put the craft on the pad, or does it have a debt system, or... So let's make a quick save here. And we're just going to find out. What is this maneuver? Oh, is that for our Gillycraft that we don't really have a good aim on, or angle on right now? That is on, in theory, this guy, maybe? Well, not this guy. One of these orbiting Eve. This guy. No, not this one. The other one, orbiting Eve. This one. Yeah, that's a maneuver on that. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that for now, I think. Excellent. That'll do. But I still want to find out. Oh, hello. We're back in 4K. Perfect. Just what I always wanted. Thanks, KSP. Thanks. I don't know why KSP doesn't hold the resolution I put it on, but it never does. Whenever it loads, there's like a 40% chance of it changing. Okay, so if we have the Ascent module here, and we put our shiny new Kerbals in here, like so. Oh, we don't have any way for Kerbals to get up and down on this. That is something that we actually do need. So which one of these, I can never remember. Which one of these is the actual... Okay, we can't afford to launch it. But what we can do is take all of this off for right now. I'm not going to save it. And we're going to just put this out on the pad. Excellent. And with this out on the pad, we need to make sure that there are ladders on here. So the reason we're putting this out here is I just want to verify which side the Kerbals pop out of when they EVA. Okay, so Jeb, go ahead and EVA. He pops out on the side that is this. Okay, good to know. We'll revert that back to vehicle assembly. And we need a way to get up and down this. So we'll reopen the ascent module. And we need a way to get up and down this without detaching all of these. I'd love it if we could just put this on the pad. Oh, you know what we could probably do is we could probably just put this on the pad for testing purposes. If... No, there isn't a ignore money thing. We could just give ourselves like a temporary loan, quote unquote, not for launching this, but only to put it out on the pad so that we can test the ascent and descent system. So we put this out on the pad, and I will remove that money without spending it. So we'll just put this out on the pad in a simulated fashion and see what happens when a Kerbal pops out of it. That's the only thing we're trying to figure out right now, is where do they go? What can they fall down? So let's get this loaded on up, and we will find out. So Jebediah, he is going to EVA here, and if he lets go, he will begin to fall. And he falls all the way down to here. And I don't think he has a way to get out of here. Wait. So it is possible for a Kerbal to get through here, at least on Kerbin gravity. Eve gravity is higher. So we're going to revert this back to the launch, and we are going to place this on the surface of Eve, somewhere where there is land, which there is at the default location. It's just a little tilted. So we'll turn SAS on, and we will set our position to be on Eve and see what exactly happens here. Ease to ground is okay, and this should all be fine, except we want our pitch to be 90 degrees. Okay. So the vessel will ease in now. Well, that's unfortunate. That wasn't helpful. Not a helpful simulation. Let's go ahead and revert that back to the launch, and let's turn on ignore crash damage. We're not actually testing the actual landing portion, which should be completely okay. It should be completely fine. We've tested that out to the nth degree. So we're going to hop back to the launch here. Oh, we're back in 4K. Perfect. Absolutely wonderful. We're going to bump that back to 1080. There we go. And then we're going to go into here. We're going to ignore crash damage, and we'll set us back on Eve. So the question is, can we get through these engines with our Kerbals on Eve? This is not the angle I was looking for. We're going to try that one again. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. There we go. And SAS on. Okay. So obviously these bits would break in reality, right? Oh, we're tipping. That's not helpful. We were able to not tip before. Maybe the difference is the ease in multiplier. And we are not at 90 degrees. Okay. Yeah, I think the ease in probably had something to do with it. The SAS is not doing a great job, but okay. We are moving over the ground a little bit, but let's go ahead and hop Jeb out here. And hopefully this will stop crawling in a moment. But we'll let go, and we'll just see what happens when he gets down to the ground. I wish... Okay, there we go. So we're currently being moved along with the rocket. As you can see here, it moves at about walking speed. So, Jeb, just try to get through there. I think if we were actually flat and not moving, I think Jeb could get through this, like he can on Kerbin. This feels almost exactly the same. Oh, hello. Yeah, Jeb can get through that. Okay, so that's what we needed to know. We'll revert this back to vehicle assembly. And now we no longer need the cache for testing purposes. We now know what we needed. So we will turn that off and we will remove that temporary cache. Perfect. And at this point, we know that we come down here. Now, there's a photovoltaic panel there. I'm going to actually change the angle that these are at. I want them to be at 4x. Thank you very much. And we will put them in right there. Next, we're going to need a set of ladders. And we don't need this to be on symmetry. I kind of doubt that Jeb can grab that, if I'm honest. So let's grab the extendable ladders instead. And we'll put one of those right there. And then that extends down like that. And then we'd put another one in right about there. And then another one would go in right about there, in theory. And then another one would go in. These are kind of special in their angle. There's no doubt about that. You know what? I'm actually going to change these. This one, I think... I think this one is fine. These up here, I'm going to change. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to instead put in one of these. Like that. We're going to get rid of this one, and then we're going to put in one of these guys here. These aren't exactly straight, it seems. Well, maybe they are. But then I'd like to have one, say, here. And hopefully Jeb can navigate to that. And then I'd like to have one here. Wonder if these will burn off on re-entry. Do these have like a max heat on them? 2000 Kelvin. So if we compare that to, say, the max heat of one of these Jumbo 64s, what is the max heat on that? The same. Okay, we should be fine then. So then we would put another one there. And then, in theory, a final one. Actually, this one should be, like, extendable. The final one should go somewhere along the lines of... What did I do? We need to go back into utility. Somewhere along the lines of here. That one's extendable, and that's facing the wrong direction. Let's flip that on around. And that, I think, gets us to the ground. Yes. Yes, it does. Excellent. Okay, we are going to need the temporary cache to test this ladder. So let's do that. We're very, very close to getting our ascent module on its way, but this is the last thing that we need here. This is the last component. I'm hoping that this works, fingers crossed. We'll see if it does. I'm a little bit concerned about the location of some of the side boosters. We might have to change the angle of those. That's not a big deal. Oh, look at that. Resolution changed. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay. So we're going to have Jeb go ahead and hop out. And the question now becomes... Oh. Okay, he doesn't like this joint. But we can do that. We can let go and immediately grab. Then he can climb down here. He grabs onto there. That's good. Oh, there's a gap here that I didn't see. Okay. That gap definitely needs to be fixed. So we'll revert that back to the vehicle assembly. How did I miss that gap? That's a pretty big gap. Maybe it was just the camera angle we were at? But it looks like this path is going to be fine. Yeah, look at that gap. So we'll move this guy right on up. Actually, this is the extendable one. We'll get rid of that. And we'll move this guy up to here and duplicate it and put it there. And then move this up slightly to like there. This up slightly to like there. And then this up slightly. I'm a little concerned about reaching that ladder at this point. Yeah, I'm still concerned about reaching that ladder at this point. So let's head on in here. And let's add in just one more little mobility enhancer. Move this on down to be there instead. And put in, say, a couple more rungs on here like that. Okay, that looks good. So let's give this one more test. Make sure that our ladder technology is functional. It would be a real shame to get there and discover we had no ladder technology. But I think everything is otherwise good to go. So let's just get Jeb out on the pad. And he is going to prove that this ladder is climbable. Any moment now, Jeb. There you go, buddy. Okay, so he climbs down. He makes that transition. This transition is bumpy. He lets go and immediately plummets to the ground. He did not grab on. Okay, well, that's fine. We're going to extend this ladder. And up works just as well. I mean, down is easy. We know that a Kerbal will actually survive the fall. So the question is, does up work? If up works, then theoretically, if we execute it correctly, down will work as well. So far, so good. A little wacky here in some of these angles, but I mean, you're not supposed to see in here real well. So far, this looks great. And he even makes a transition to here anyway. He doesn't really make the transition up here. What if we let go and grab again? Yeah, then he changes his position. It's a little awkward. I think that this section needs work, but overall it is functional. I definitely think that we need to work on the section up at the capsule. So it's this joint here that is giving us problems. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, and we will instead put in like a Pegasus 2 like this. And then maybe a Pegasus 1 in here. That's a really weird angle. Okay. I'm not sure why it's wanting to put it like that. Maybe we just move this down slightly. Like that. Okay, let's see what Jeb thinks about that. That should, in theory, be a slightly better system, I think, assuming Jeb's okay with it. Well, KSP has decided to stop responding. Hopefully we're not crashing. If we are, then I'll put an end to the episode here. If not, we'll just run this test and then do it. But while we're waiting to find out if it's crashing, I will say you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and it looks like we're good. Just back in 4K. Okay, so we don't even need to switch. I'll just do this in 4K. It'll be maybe a little choppy, but should get the point across. That's a much smoother transition from down. And up looks good. Okay, perfect. So now what we need, of course, is we need to make some money so that we can send up our ascent module. And I think that means that we're going to have to return to the moon. But that is a job for next episode. I already did the outro, so I will just say I will see you all next time.